The next Goodwill message will be taken by Honorable Justice Salisu Garba, Administrator, National Judicial Institute. And this is a recorded message, so please, ladies and gentlemen, look to your screens.
All other protocols stand as already established. In 2021, NASRA identifies the need for collaboration with the judiciary to give further insight in understanding the barrier aspect of the Nigerian economy. This has so far been achieved through the National Assembly Business Environment Roundtable, in partnership with the Nigerian Bar Association's section of business law by creating a platform to engage the legislature on the legislative framework that will improve Nigeria's business environment through the review of relevant legislation, development of the economy, and reforms that is doing business in Nigeria. In furtherance of this, NASBA, in collaboration with the National Judicial Institute, the leading institution for training judicial officers in Nigeria, set out the scope for engagement with the National Institute, training, research, and providing resource person at the NJI training. Consequently, in October 2021, NJI, in collaboration with NASBA, organized a first tailor-made workshop on the role of the bench in economic growth and development. Presentations at the workshop were made to give judges deeper insight in the business environment, investment climate, and sanctity of contracts. At the end of the training, judges commended the methodology adopted. A significant outcome of the event was the request by the judges for subsequent training. At this stage, I sincerely thank the NESG for inviting us to be part of this occasion, and we assure them of our continuous collaboration towards the betterment of the Nigerian economy. I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. We've heard the voices from Oyo State. We moved to Abuja, and we've gone around the country hearing voices of affirmation on what we are doing. So what is next now is for us to play a short video that sets the tone for what we're about to do. This video is actually on the Ernest Shonekan Center for Legislative Reforms and Economic Development.
The journey of entrepreneurship in Nigeria is challenging. Institutional, regulatory, and legislative constraints inhibit the growth and prosperity for businesses, especially nano, micro, small, and medium enterprises. To address this challenge, the NESG decided to bring these issues to the fore.
The first summit after the Buhari government came into power, at a time when we were beginning to experience some serious economic difficulties. The oil prices had dropped significantly, and we appeared to be heading towards a recession. It was clear that we had to talk to government and the private sector that we were going to go through a period of difficulty.
In 2015, the 21st Nigerian Economic Summit, NES 21, called for a review of outdated laws and collaborative efforts between government and the private sector.
One of the things we did that was really critical was to bring the National Assembly to participate actively in the summit, to talk specifically about processes for enacting laws that would help in economic growth and economic development.
Later that year, the National Assembly commissioned a comprehensive review of the legislative and associated instruments affecting businesses in Nigeria, with support from the UK Department for International Development, DFID.
That's how ourselves, MDA Session on Business of Law, decided to come together. So it gave rise to what we call the Nigeria Report.
We were commissioned to do a comprehensive review of all the institutional, regulatory, legislative, and other instruments affecting businesses in Nigeria. Go through the laws of the Federation. At that time, there were 407 acts of National Assembly, which we reviewed, and we identified 54 that affect businesses. There were many bills in the National Assembly too that we reviewed. Out of that, we identified 50 affected businesses. Nigeria Economic Summit Group was involved, and they actually said the report, they submitted the report on impact analysis to see how our recommendations will impact the business environment. As soon as our report was presented, Ministry was formally inaugurated.
And on March 16, 2016, the National Assembly Business Environment Roundtable, NASBAR, was established to deliver the outcomes of the review.
The NASBAR is a collaboration between the experts from the legal profession, the expert network of the NASG, as well as the lawmakers, and it gives the private sector a unique opportunity to contribute to improving the quality of our legislative process.
Particularly serving on technical advisory committees where we provide baseline research, we provide advice and information. We have also created avenues for stakeholder engagement through expert forums where we have the different sector experts and the different players in the sector come and discuss with us what the requirement and what the specifics are. And then we draft instruments that reflect Nigeria's peculiarities, that reflect international best practice, that also reflect our regional and international commitments over the years.
NASBAR started as a partnership between the National Assembly, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, and the Nigerian Bar Association's section on business law. NASBAR's work revolved around 12 thematic areas. 7 years on, NASBAR has worked very hard with the legislature to achieve a more favorable business environment for Nigeria. Some of the significant legislations that were passed into law include the Secure Transactions in Movable Asset Act, Credit Reporting Act, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act, Companies and Allied Matters Act, National Fertilizer Quality Control Act, National Agricultural Seeds Council Act, and Arbitration and Mediation Act.
The successes that have been recorded since NASBAR was inaugurated are self-evident. For instance, we had the passage of the Companies and Allied Matters Act in 2020. Generally, what we've experienced since CAMA 2020 came into existence is that we now have the right tool that helps to facilitate companies and doing business in Nigeria.
With the passage into law of the Arbitration and Mediation Act earlier this year, this singular act in itself positions the country as an arbitration-friendly jurisdiction and ultimately builds and instills confidence in investors to invest in Nigeria.
NASBAR extended its work to the subnationals, and the State Assembly Business Environment Roundtable, SABAR, was established.
Like we say, every business is a tenant of a state. And so while it was important for us to focus on national legislations that deal with the macroeconomic environment, it was also important that we go to the subnationals and look at laws in states that affect the way we do business. And so we opened up a discussion with the Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures, invited them to a roundtable, and convinced them on the need for them to use their legislatures in their various states to begin to enact, review, or repeal laws that will have a damning effect on businesses. And they accepted, they welcomed it, and then that gave birth to the State Assembly's Business Environment Roundtable.
NASBAR also reached out to the National Judicial Institute for collaboration in organizing joint training programs for judicial officers and their staff, and research on critical areas for national development. This collaboration gave rise to the Judicial Capacity Project, JUCAP.
The purpose for us in doing that was simple: to look at efficiency in the administration of justice, to look at cost of adjudication, to look at timely dispensation of justice, and more importantly, sanctity of contracts and enforcement of contracts. And again, like all the other stakeholders that we had collaborated with, the judiciary welcomed it. They have been benefiting from some of the work that we are doing with them. And hopefully, we will begin to see the impact down the line as we work more closely with the judiciary through the National Judicial Institute.
Today, the Ernest Shonekan Center for Legislative Reforms and Economic Development seeks to build on the work of NASBAR, SABAR, and JUCAP.
Ernest Shonekan is the founding father of the Nigerian Economic Summit. A big part of what Ernest Shonekan believed was that you cannot reform Nigeria without reforming Nigeria's law, order, and governance architecture. Most of that is driven by legal and judicial frameworks.
The center is designed to promote scholarship, advance evidence-based research, champion advocacy, and deepen stakeholder engagement on national and subnational legislative frameworks.
We believe that the Ernest Shonekan Center's long-term existence will strengthen the Nigerian democratic experience as we raise the capabilities of the outer arms of government to perform at par or even possibly better than the executive arm of power and government, which has been almost the predominant focus of NESG for many years.
The Ernest Shonekan Center will build on the work of NASBAR, SABAR, and JUCAP in providing technical assistance, conducting research, delivering knowledge products, facilitating stakeholder engagement, building capacity, and championing advocacy in key thematic areas: public financial integrity, digital transformation.
Digital is the way to get 200 million people connected and producing and growing. Our plan to work to ensure that we're putting in place legislation that will enhance digital economy, things like our digital infrastructure. We need legislation around that creates trust, data protection, more around data privacy, and also legislation that will create an enabling environment for investments in infrastructure such as cloud and so on.
Human capital development, trade and investment.
What we look at are the laws that would make trade to flow smoothly. And right now, one of our major focuses is on the reforms that are needed to make the AFCFTA beneficial to Nigeria.
Regulatory environment, infrastructure.
In this time, we have made very concerted efforts at looking at the infrastructure stock of Nigeria and what it will take to unlock and clear the constraints, the financial and funding constraints that has led to the dearth of infrastructure that we have in Nigeria today. Because of its relatively high economic impact, we are looking at bills that relate to technical safety and in particular economic regulation. We've also looked at the legal, institutional and regulatory framework. We worked on the Public Assets Reform Bill. We worked on the Public-Private Partnership Procurement Bill. These bills are essentially aimed at addressing some of these issues.
Judicial efficiency and dispute resolution.
We are on the precipice of entering the largest free trade area in the world, the African Continental Free Trade Area. Now, from a cross-border dispute perspective, parties are usually reluctant to submit to the courts of their corresponding parties. So arbitration gives both parties a neutral avenue to ventilate that business dispute. Businesses typically want a quick avenue to resolve the disputes that arise so that it can get on with the importance of doing business that will earn profit for the company and that will earn profit for its shareholders.
With a dedicated team, visionary leadership, and strategic outlook, the Ernest Shonekan Center has the potential to make a lasting impact, driving Nigeria towards a brighter and more prosperous future for all its citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the Ernest Shonekan Center for Legislative Reforms and Economic Development. Visit www.shonekanCenter.org to learn more.
Thank you very much. So it's now time for us to do the proper launch, and the following will be stepping forward here for the launching. I'd like to welcome here the Chairman, Conference of Speakers, the Chairman, NASG, Mr. Lani Yusuf, the former Chairman of NASG, Mr. Aswe Godalo, the Member, NASG Advisory Board, Mr. Dotun Sulaiman. Let me welcome here Chairman, MBA Section on Business Law, former Chairman, Nigeria Bar Association, Mr. A.B. Mahmood, SAN, Mrs. Amina Oyagbola, Member Advisory Board of NASBA, Ms. Amina Maina, Vice Chairman, NSG, Mr. Lauye Jayola, CEO, NSG, Mr. Nana Ude, Board Member, NSG, Professor Paul Idonige, SAN, and now finally, we were debating whether you are Yinka or his brother. But the son of Ernest Shonekan is here. Please rise and join us. Okay. Okay.
Well, first of all, let me apologize for coming late. I mean, Chief will be abusing me for upstairs that you this boy, you will not change. But my mother has spoken already. I can only thank you all for this honor that you're doing to my father. God bless you all. Thank you. So, on behalf of our family, I unveil the Ernest Shonekan Center for legislative reforms. Thank you very much. And economic development. Thank you very much.